reconvene. Jeff, the floor is yours, sir.
All right, perfect. Well, I'm glad I get an opportunity to be here, talk to you guys. I know I hadn't met a whole lot with the council and stuff too. So each year when we do these retreats, I like to take an opportunity to kind of go over what we've done this past year that we've had at our parks and stuff going on. So what I've kind of done, I've kind of prepared and give you guys an idea of what we got going on in our parks and our usage and stuff too. So Scott, hit the next one right here. So we do have a couple parks. We have our Summerfield Athletic Park, which is where we have obviously our soccer field and our 3 baseball, softball fields that are there. So this past year, we had, go ahead and click the next one. So this past year, we obviously do rental. So our rental season starts about mid-February and goes to about mid to end of November. So this past year, we had 270 days that were rented at our athletic park. That means there was at least one field rented by a local organization or the local charter schools or our weekend organizations that use our field. So out of our limited number of days that we had, we closed it down during the winter. 270 days was rented out. So the people who use our field or rent our field, and we have 3 local charter schools, which is Summerfield Charter Academy, Revolution, and Greensboro Academy, uses our facility to hold their spring and fall sports, and that includes soccer, softball, and baseball. Along with that, those schools that use our park, we have 2 local organizations that use it. One, the Summerfield Recreation Association, which is my #1 user that uses our park for their softball and baseball leagues. They rent our fields out, and then we have 2 outside organizations that hold weekend tournaments. That will be baseball or softball, and typically we hold about 20 plus. We schedule more, but typically what happens is with the weather or the organizations may not have enough teams to form a tournament that weekend, so 20 is about what we average out of that. We brought up earlier about talking about phase 2 with our fields. You can see right now we're completely booked. Our fields are used 5 to 7 days, mostly 7 days during a hot season of somebody renting it out. So it doesn't leave a whole lot of time for other organizations that want to rent our field. We're just booked, and that's kind of the norm around here, Oak Ridge, Stokesdale, even in Greensboro. Fields they're hard to come by with so many travel teams popping up, and you do have some organizations, other athletic organizations that pop up that don't have anywhere to go. So each year we kind of talk about our phase 2, which would include a couple of other fields, and that's something that I always want to keep on you guys' radar to understand, hey, we do have a need for that, at least on the surface. Now there's other things that we could talk about. I'll move on. We also have a shelter out there at our athletic park that we just built a few years ago, and it's heavily used too. We have a lot of the schools will hold their banquets. They'll hold parent meetings out there, and typically the organizations who rent our facility, either the soccer field or our tournament weekends, they will actually rent that facility out too for a spot for their teams to go to get out from under the sun. They can hold a little cookout out there. So that was a good addition that we did a few years ago for that. Move on to the next one. So this is our current items that we have in our budget that we budgeted for that we're going to have at our park that we're going to be doing currently. So you can see the top is our warning tracks. So what we'll do, it'll probably be myself along with some of our our one contractor will come in and we'll actually, before the season starts, we'll get that cleaned up, throw down some brick dust.
What's a warning track?
Warning track is basically an area from grass to dirt that will allow, it tells the player, hey, I'm getting close to the fence. So it's warning them that they are very close to a fence. So it's kind of just a built-in thing for players to realize, hey, I'm off the grass, I'm getting ready to get too close to the fence. So that's typical for the baseball and softball. That's just the norm. So that's the current thing that we're getting ready to begin here very shortly. Our parking lot, we got a little age on our facility, so that's something that internally I'll be doing. I'll rent a striper and I'll actually paint our parking lot lights and get them a little fresher for our current rental seasons that's coming up this year. And that stuff is already budgeted already from, so we won't have anything to worry about right there going over budget.
Hey, I have a friend who does that,
Striping,
and I think he does it like on his own.
yeah.
So if you just want to get a price to see if it's comparable to your time.
Yeah, and that's typically, that's kind of what I like to do. I like to do stuff internally, but if it meets, obviously, in my budget where we won't go over, that's something that we can do.
I'll send you his contact.
Yeah. Here's something that I'm sure you guys are aware of. So here's 2 items right here that they went bad, and we really didn't have it budgeted, but it has to be replaced. Obviously, it has to be fixed. So I'm dealing with a septic pump that has gone out, and we are in contact with the original installer about getting that done. So just give you an idea of what will happen there. Obviously, we'll get our quotes, we'll come back, and most likely, typically, I'm going to find that money in my budget. We're not going to do a budget amendment. We're going to find that. We're going to get that done out of my line items and stuff too. You got an irrigation system. Right towards the end of last year, we had irrigation ball valves and some solenoids and stuff that went bad. That's just current stuff. I try to build that in to anticipate some repairs that will be needed. But just like I said, each day I come in, it's an adventure. We don't know if the bathrooms are messed up, the water fountains are messed up, but we always, Dee does a real good job of giving me the financials and stuff each month, so we stay within the means of what we budget for, so we don't go over any of that. So we also have it budgeted for a new gator. The gator that we currently have at that facility has been around since 2011, and just like I said, it's used 5 to 7 days a week, and it's got some hours on it now that we're looking at replace. We're at the point now where the gator that we have is constantly being repaired and broke down sometimes too. So we actually have that budgeted to purchase a new one. We have a contract with Rebels. That gives us a government contract that gives us a huge discount on that too. That's who we've used in the past. So that's coming up here pretty soon, and just like I said, we already have that budgeted, so that's not an additional request. And then this is what we talked about earlier. There you can see off to the top left, that's where the 2 soccer fields, that's where they projected the master plan years and years ago of land that we have. It's obviously not developed or graded off right now. That's where we have room for additional fields if we ever wanted to go take that step. Just like I said now, with the extremely small staff, myself only full-time, I have 1 part-time and then 2 seasonal. It's kind of hard to get all those fields ready because it's just myself. So if we ever wanted to go that route for an additional fields, we probably have to internally talk about maybe hiring another part-time employee to help out with getting those fields, keeping them maintained and prepped for the renters that use them. And that's just something right there that we've got projected through our Parks and Rec master plan and our comprehensive plan of 26, 27. That's not given, like you said, Janelle. That's just something we can discuss about it, but it's projected for that. Yes, sir, Joe.
You said part-time. Why not take the part-time, make it full-time? I'm just curious.
Well, right now, I mean, we've had that discussion before. So the way we operate our facilities now, we actually contract 2 different people that takes care of our facilities. We have a contractor, Hunter Enterprises, who fertilizes and maintains our specific Bermuda grass. So it has to be somebody who's obviously licensed and stuff too. He brings his own equipment, he brings his own manpower and stuff, so we're paying him under a contract to take care of that. We have an additional contractor who takes care of everything outside, and that's throughout the whole town, maintaining, mulching, weeding, all that stuff right there too. So we did a study a few years ago, and it was easier for the town to contract that out, so we don't obviously have to have room for stores, equipment upkeep. It just worked out better for us with the amount of numbers. So if we ever wanted to adjust that and hire additional people, we want to make sure that position is obviously, he's going to have stuff to do, you know what I'm saying, and responsibilities. But
can I add something to
yes.
that? So we have the 1 part-time person, but if we added another part-time person, we wouldn't have to pay full-time benefits to two
Okay.
part-time people
Okay.
Right.
too, and we talked about that a lot, but
And the part-time gives Jeff a lot more flexibility for when they can be available.
Yeah, no, I'm just.
and specifically for him, he works during the day for Greensboro, for Guilford
Guilford
County.
County, yeah.
And then, comes here, so, but it is something we,
Okay.
talk about.
Yeah, and that's just something that currently it works good for us. Now, as we keep on growing a little bit and adding more things, it may be something we could take a hard look at it. But comfortably right now, I'm okay with what we got. Our next park, we'll move on, is our Summerfield Community Park. This is the park where obviously it has our trail, has our little lake, has an amphitheater, and a community center that we took over a few years ago. And that's a huge hot item for us now. Community center, we had 75 rentals in that facility last year out of 100 dates. So 75 out of 100 available dates, we had renters in there, renters from Summerfield, renters from outside of town, Stokesdale, Oak Ridge, even Greensboro, that held, obviously you can see birthday showers, reunions, bridal showers and stuff like that. So it's obviously it's the same building that you guys meet for your meetings. So along with the rentals we have a grandfather clause where the VFW and the Grange use the facility, the building, one day a month too. And then we have Senior Resources that also uses it one day a month too. So along with our renters that are typically Friday, Saturday, Sunday, our town council meetings, planning board, and even local schools and organizations in the sense like Girl Scouts or Boy Scouts. I typically don't charge for them just because they're here in Summerfield and I kind of take care of them. But that building is heavily used throughout the year. It's probably my number one renter right now of calling people inquiring about it, and internally Sarah and Cheryl kind of take care of me and answer those questions when I'm actually out of the office. Just like I mentioned, we also have a shelter there too. So we had only 20 rentals at our small shelter. Reason being is a lot of people now, since we have control of the community center, they would rather go into a climate controlled building. Which I understand. So now we obviously didn't have the control of the community center until we took ownership of it a few years ago. That's now something that I kind of push people to. The reason being is it's just it's a better environment for them and it's easier to maintain, and they have a little bit of I guess privacy and stuff where they don't have to worry about other people coming to the park. Along with that shelter, we do have the elementary school that uses it a lot for their parties. They'll use it for their classroom trips and stuff too. They actually hold a camp out there each year that's pretty heavy used. Actually I attended for that. And then we have our amphitheater, and along with the amphitheater we do rent that out too. We've held weddings out there, and I also have local organizations that do their dance performances out there. We actually have talent shows that are out there that are used. And along with that, what Cheryl's going to get to, when we get to it, we also hold our music event out there too each year. So that's a great area that we have a lot of people in the community that take advantage of that use. This is something that you guys saw on the projected of the trail bridge. So this is a trail bridge that connects one side of the trail to the other side of the trail. And you can see it's about 16, 17 years old now. And it has a lot of boards, and it's starting to develop some, I guess, the undercarriage, the 4x6 boards underneath that have a little rust to it. So that's something that we budgeted for, and I think I talked to Lynn earlier. We budgeted $250,000, but internally Scott and I talked, and we're gonna go on a little different route. We're gonna do, matter of fact, I talked to a local contractor just Friday, and we're gonna do a restoration of the bridge. So what that would entail is we're going to strip obviously all the top decking boards off, the side rails off, and he's going to individually inspect all the boards. So we're going to save a lot going that route. And so I feel like we'll come, and I don't have any quotes yet, but I feel like we're going to come well under the projected 250 that we have budgeted on that. And that's just something we thought that would be good. Doing a little research with this, once it happened, the project happened before I got here. The boards were actually a donation from Lowe's or Home Depot. So when they actually built the bridge, and they're obviously, I understand, startup of a town, they probably didn't use the proper boards that were made for outdoors, marine, quality. So that's the reason that we didn't get the life that we probably were supposed to. But we're going to do that now. We're going to use the proper boards and stuff that are marine grade, and it will last a little longer. And that cost is going to be down, just like I said, from what we projected. And that's currently happening now. So we're moving pretty fast with that. And that project will be done before June 30th.
Nice.
Yeah.
This is something that, just like I mentioned before, we had our bathrooms, or a set of bathrooms that we have at the community park. We had some damage that came in, and they actually tore the petitions down, spray painted some of the floors and some of the walls, so they completely ruined the petitions that we have in the men's bathroom. That's something that we didn't have budgeted for, but just like I said, Dee and I sat down. We know that we have enough money in my budget that we're not going to have to do a budget amendment, and that project is supposed to begin February 8th. We have a local contractor, Kimco or something like that. Simcoe. We didn't even know they did it. Cheryl did the research and reached out to them, and that's something they're heavy in doing. So they actually came out and gave us a wonderful quote, and we jumped all over it for them to do that. So that's a project that's going to be currently going on to replace the damaged petitions and stuff that we have.
Can I
Insurance.
We explored it, and it was just, it didn't meet the threshold. It would do more damage than filing it.
Yeah, I don't like paying increased premiums
Yeah.
for years to come for something, because Jeff works really hard on his budget requests that he gives, and we always put enough stuff in there for any incidentals that come up in the park, which is why he's saying he doesn't have to do a budget amendment, is because he knows there's going to be, things that come up, gator repairs or damage, or, especially the irrigation system going out, so he's put enough in the budget to cover these incidents.
And you're looking at a less than $2,000 repair right there, which is not as bad as we anticipated. We anticipated a whole lot more from that. So we're extremely happy with the company quote and everything. So this is something new. Last year we just built our dog park, and we had a huge grand opening last year. Building the dog park, which we've never had before, so it was some growing pains associated with that, of how many people are going to use it, how is the surface going to hold up. So we've been going this past year of listening to a lot of citizens, talking to them throughout the day, and kind of seeing what they recommend, some of their concerns and stuff about our park. So currently we are looking at what is happening right now. You got to understand, this is a park that's basically open 365 days a year. If a dog owner wants to go out there after it's raining, even if it is raining, that's totally their choice. This is a park that we don't close down, and it is used by so many people here in Summerfield, and even people from Oak Ridge and even from Greensboro are just raving about how well this park was designed and built. So if you haven't been out there, maybe you have, but you can go out there at any time, and it's a good opportunity. We like to go out there and just talk to the people that are out there and just ask them about it, what they enjoy. And it's hard to get a specific number on how well it's used, but you can go there at any time and you see, multiple dogs out there, which is obviously it's great to see. But with that, we've got an issue where our grass right there is completely wore out. So Cheryl has done a lot of research and talked to some people that have dog parks and stuff too. So there are options that we can install, in a sense of you have people put pea gravel down, people put regular mulch down. People put, it just depends, rubber mulch down. When we decided that our engineered mulch, which is basically equivalent to what we put down our playground, is what is used to a lot of dog parks, and that'll cut down on a lot of muddy areas, and it will make a lot of citizens happy that we're going to go that route. So that's something that we're currently doing. I've got to get playground mulch thrown in or blown into our playgrounds that we have here in the town, and that's something else that we're going to get done with our dog park. And along the lines of the same thing, that's something that we built in on our budget, so it'll be something that we'll have in my line item, that we won't have to do a budget amendment to that right there, so we'll just take it right out of there and not spend additional money for the town. You can move on, Scott, next. Just thinking about it.
Yeah.
We'll move on. Basically, so we have our budget obviously coming up for the next fiscal year that we have to start looking at. And I think Janelle or somebody mentioned something, maybe Lynn, about how do we get these numbers that we project. Well, so for instance, what we have here, we have a couple of piers, and we actually have some paving issues. You can go to the next one, Scott. Some paving issues that are going to have to immediately be addressed. It's getting to the point where it's not really a safety issue, but it can easily become a safety issue. And we've discussed this for actually the last couple of years during this retreat, and I put it on the radar of council and stuff that this is something that we're going to have to address. So this coming up year, that's something that I will want to budget for. And what we'll do, to answer your question, we'll reach out to local paving companies and not get a real formal quote, but we'll get an idea of the distance and stuff right there about what it'll cost, and then we'll make our recommendation on what we need to put in our line item to get that done. So we're not, obviously well under. We'll be right around in the ballpark to get that done. So that will be a repaving of not the entire almost 3/4 of a mile, but probably about a quarter, maybe a little bit over a quarter, that needs to be replaced just through the areas of where the tree roots have grown up. So that's just something that you guys will see, and you'll understand, hey, why I have that on there for our community park. So I don't have any figures now, obviously, because I haven't talked to anybody, but we'll have those numbers and stuff you guys can see coming up when we start working for next year's budget. And then we obviously, our Trails and Open Space Committee, we work with them, and they are in the process, actually meeting today. They are walking our community park, and they're looking at areas you can see right there, we're getting ready to put a wildflower area on our Madeiras Trailhead, which will be it'll be seen when people walk the trails and stuff. That's something that they're doing internally. They're looking for places for birdhouses and additional benches and picnic tables. And the committee, they are actually the ones who worked. They put in so much time with the dog park that we relied on them to make recommendations, suggestions, and stuff of what we should do. So they're just kind of moving on to their next thing of the park, or what they want to do to make it better for the public and stuff to enjoy our park. So our next thing, Cheryl, she's going to talk about the type of events and stuff that we have going on, which is quite a few that she has to deal with, but she's going to give you more of a breakdown of kind of what we do and where we hold it at in our parks.
So Jeff went over the two parks. We just broke it up into which parks hold which events. Our music, we have 3 a year, June, July, August, right at our amphitheater. Typically go with the beach, top 40s. They draw a good crowd, probably around 450. Yeah. And we shuttle people for those with limited mobility, with a gator and a tag along. And we coordinate with the local